During my freshman year of college in 2017, I wrote an essay about getting raped and molested by a crusty pedo in Indonesia as a 6-year-old. This essay literally changed my life and saved me from all the negativity and resentment that had lived in my brain and my heart in the years prior. And this essay played a big role in me becoming the person that I am today. And I'm so proud of who I am today, and I'm very happy with myself and my life and for everything that God has given me, or the universe. I'm agnostic. I have not read the essay since I wrote it and shared it with my class in 2017, so I thought, why not make a YouTube video on this and read it out loud and share it with you guys. I have my rape essay right here on my phone. This was the final draft, so let's read it. Kevin Leonardo, 16 March 2017, COM 201, kevl98@bu.edu. Phone number that I'm not saying out loud. Word count 1004. Memoir final draft. That's the title. The old man laid me down on his white sheetless bed. As my light 6-year-old body attempted to escape, he towered over me and put his mouth on my private parts. Quote, "Do you like it when I do this?" End quote, he said, violating me. I looked around the room, desperately searching for answers to what was happening to me. Grime and mold stained the walls. The one pair of windows were closed shut. I stared at the dwindling streaks of light pouring into the room and realized that I was not going to be saved. It was a bright, sunny afternoon in a suburb of Jakarta, Indonesia. Butterflies were dancing in the sunshine, cats were prowling down the sidewalks, and children were biking around the neighborhood. My dad was at work, and I had been dropped off at my grandparents' house with my mom. A simple Catholic woman, my mom worked a part-time job, but still spent a decent amount of time with me nonetheless. She was cooking in the kitchen, and I was in the living room watching the Power Rangers. Right when I finished an episode, I hopped off the couch and sprinted towards the front door. Aldo, my nickname, "Eat this chicken, it'll help you grow wings so that you can fly," said my desperate mother, running out of the kitchen and chasing me with a bowl of chicken and rice. Everybody called me Aldo in Indonesia. No, I want to go to Jessica's house. There's a South Park episode that we want to watch, I yelled, shutting the door behind me. I walked down the front yard and turned left. My friend Jessica's house was just a few houses down. When I arrived, I cheerfully knocked on the door, and immediately my friend Jessica greeted me. Inside, I found myself a comfortable spot, sat down, and quickly turned on the television. We were halfway into the newest South Park episode when an old man came out of the kitchen and into the living room. He looked about 55. He had messy gray hair that laid atop his pale, weathered face, and he was wearing a shabby gray t-shirt and frayed khaki shorts. After hearing a conversation between him and Jessica, I realized that he was her uncle. Suddenly, Jessica had to leave. "I'm going to the bathroom, Kevin. Be right back," said Jessica, leaving the room. The television went blank. I stared at the doorway, and for a few seconds, Jessica's uncle stood there examining me with a peculiar expression on his face. Then, the old man bolted across the room towards me, picked me up by my armpits, and carried me upstairs to his bedroom. A full-size mattress rested in the middle of the room. I watched the old man as he hurled me down on the cold, empty bed and unbuttoned my pants. Then he gradually began to place his mouth lower and lower on my body. Feeling disgusted, I tried to squirm away, but his forceful hands hindered me from liberation. "Where do you think you're going?" he said, smirking. Upon these words, my eyes shot up to the ceiling, unable to look into his filthy eyes any longer. But when I closed them, all I could see was his sickening smile. A year had passed. Another sleepless night. I lay awake, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars illuminating my ceiling. "Somebody needs to know," said a voice inside my head. I nodded in agreement. I slid off my bed and looked at the grandfather clock perched in the right corner of my room. It was almost 11 at night. I opened my bedroom door and walked out. My mom was sitting cross-legged on a pillow that she had placed on the floor, a table decorated with a cross, 2 lit candles, and a framed picture of my dad sat right in front of her. She had a rosary in her right hand and was just about to start praying when she turned towards me and smiled. "Kevin, you need to tell her now," I told myself. I took a deep breath and the words poured out. "Last year, when I went to Jessica's house, her uncle picked me up, put me in his room, took off my pants, and started doing things to me," I said. My mom's rosary fell to the ground. I looked down at the string of beads and then back at my mom's face. Tears filled her eyes. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" my mom said. in an unexpectedly angry tone. I was scared. I hesitated. I was shocked and a bit stung by her lack of affection. Without another word, my mom proceeded to pray. When she finished, she glanced at me. Her face was no longer stained with tears, but the mixed look of sadness and disappointment was still embedded in her expression. She strode over to her bedroom and shut the door. The next day, my mom woke me up. Usually she would sing Sayangku bangun, which means wake up my love in Indonesian. But that Sunday morning, all I received was an apathetic nudge. I rose up from my bed and squinted at the clock. It was 6 in the morning. Sunday mass always started at 9. Confused, I walked out of my room to find my mom sitting at the dining table with, in one hand, a steamy mug of coffee and in the other, the week's newspaper. We're going to church early today, my mom said, her eyes fixed on the paper. Be ready in 15. Why, Mom? It's so early, I said, rubbing my eyes. She did not respond. Instead, she lifted her coffee mug up to her lips and took a long sip. I walked back into my room, nonplussed, and got dressed. By the time I finished getting ready, my mom was not in the dining room anymore. I found her outside by her car. Get in, my mom said. You're going to confession. So that's the end of the essay. Wow, I did not expect it to be like this. For some reason, I thought it was going to be a lot more... I thought it was going to be a little bit less dramatic. I definitely used words that made this essay super, super dramatic. And this was before I fixed my relationship with my mom. So you can tell this essay was very much fixed on the part of me that felt betrayed by my mom because I had to go to confession and she wasn't very encouraging in me sharing my story, and she wasn't very comforting when I told her what had happened to me. All of it was true for sure. Obviously, I think I definitely dramatized the story using certain words, but ultimately that's exactly what happened to me, and it felt very liberating to share that story to my class and to my professor. It was kind of funny because every other essay that was read out loud was this is the first time I went fishing with my dad, this is the first time I rode a bike, and then for me it was hey, yeah, this is me getting raped and molested by a pedo in Indonesia. But yeah, that was the rape essay that I wrote when I was a freshman in college. This essay, like I said, changed my life and played a big role in me becoming the confident and brave person that I am today, the person that I'm really proud of. If you like this video, please give it a good thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to check out my full visual bottoming course and my discreet douche kits at the links below. Thank you guys so much. I love you and I'll talk to you soon.